Welcome to Even Just a Little, where we explore the beautiful gift of choice, tiny trusts toward big freedom, those moment-to-moment decisions we make that build life. I'm so glad that you are here today joining me for Even Just a Little, which we explore choices, whether they're a beautiful breath, a movement of our body, a choice to be still, a choice to notice what's beautiful around us, those little choices that build our lives. We like to explore those in depth.
Yes,
And
we do.
today, I am thrilled to have a precious friend of mine who is the co-founder of a beautiful nonprofit organization, Fit and Faithful Living. And our paths crossed, I'm thinking almost 10 years ago now.
Right. Can you believe that? It's incredible.
No, I can't.
It's
And how
incredible.
we've stayed and become buddies. And it started when LaChanda was looking for a yoga teacher for one of her after school programs.
Yes,
And I became that teacher, and we quickly became friends when we recognized that we both have a real passion for the beautiful power of healthy body, mind, and spirit.
absolutely.
And Fit and Faithful Living, I want to tell you a little bit about that, and then I'll introduce you to LaChanda. But it is their goal is to provide overall wellness for children by creating positive cycles for the individual as well as for their family. So this is a big endeavor, and LaChanda and Reggie Dupard are a fabulous team. I can honestly say the two most joyful people I've ever been around. And I think a lot of that has to do with how they spend their moments each day making the lives better for so many people. So I'm thrilled to be chatting today with my good friend, LaChanda Dupard. Welcome, LaChanda.
Sherri and I'm super stoked to be here with you and so happy that you are offering this for people to hear and hone in on to see what impacts it can make on their life. So thank you for inviting me.
Well, like I said, I'm thrilled to pieces to be chatting with you always, but to share you and your vision and what you and Reggie do for so many, I'm really grateful to have that opportunity.
Yes.
So a little bit about you and Reggie. You
Yes.
met before the summer before you both went to college, which Reggie was
Yes.
heading to SMU to be an SMU Mustang football fella,
Mustang.
and
Yes.
you were on your way to, at the time, the University of Southwestern Louisiana to play basketball, and
Yes.
you met at a camp there.
We met at the All-Star game. It's a big thing. Think about Friday Night Lights. Well, All-Star game at your senior year, it's the biggest athletic East against West players. And we all come together for a summer, for a week. And it's football, basketball, and everyone is in the same cafeteria together, but we go out during the day to go to practice to prepare for that big All-Star game at the end of the week. And Rich, there were a lot of guys there. Okay. You talk about football and basketball guys. They were there. And I just happened to walk in the cafeteria one day and I saw this specimen of a man standing in line. And I was like, I mean, amongst all these several hundreds of guys that were there, it was like, what is going on? Who is this guy? And my friend goes, no, I called him over. I said, listen, I need to meet this guy. Oh my gosh, he's just gorgeous. And he goes, do you know who that is? And I said, Sherri, you know how I am. I don't care who he is. I just need to know him.
Yeah.
Look, I was somebody too, as far as I was concerned. Okay. I went into that camp being an All-American basketball player. So somebody too. But he introduced us, and Reggie was so extremely shy. You could tell he was there focused on football and what he was going to do when he got to SMU. And we became friends and started writing pen pals afterwards. That was back in the day, of course, before there were cell phones. So that is how we actually met. I tell my students that I serve and that are in our programs, it's okay to go after somebody that you like. You don't have to sit and wait for someone to say something to you. It's okay. And that is what I did, and I don't regret it.
Oh, that's just the beginning of this amazing story. So you went and played college basketball. Reggie went and played college football, and then he went on to play. How long did he play for the Patriots,
Patriots.
LaChanda, in the
He was with
NFL?
the New England Patriots. He was a first round draft pick for them, and he played 3 years with the Patriots, and then he went on to Washington Redskins for 2 years. So his
Okay.
career was 5 years, and we're very happy to say that he made the decision to end his football career because he felt like he had a calling in his life to do something different. So he got his 5 years in, and he earned all of his benefits with the NFL, and that was
There
it.
you go.
That was
So
it.
was that when you felt the nudge to begin moving in the direction of fit and faithful living, or tell us
Yeah,
a little bit about how that came about? Because
yeah.
I like to frame this with little choices. The
Little
little
choices.
the
Yeah.
little decisions that we make. The little decision you made to walk up to Reggie Dupard that day in the cafeteria. What if you
I
hadn't?
still feel all giddy
That's
about that.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
a lot of times those choices do. I mean, when we're living the way I think we're designed to live, we do experience that exuberance, that
Absolutely.
joy.
And it was
And
something that we didn't know that was happening in the background. So that small choice led to us. And I only played 1 year at USL before I just decided I lost the thrill of it all. I didn't want to do it anymore. So then I left and started after college. I went to Chicago. My aunt lived with her. She got me on with the telecommunications company. I started my career in Chicago, and that's when he was getting drafted. But Reggie and I were always friends. We were friends even while he was in college and had all his other girlfriends. But we were always friends because, like I said, we were pen pals. But I was in a relationship. I was in several relationships. He was in several relationships, but we always kept in touch. So the choices for us to keep in touch is what's
uh-huh.
monumental for our lives today. And once I started working in Chicago, he went on to New England. After his decision to say, I've had enough, well, in the middle of his decision, he asked me to be his girlfriend. And we made it official in his second year of playing in the NFL. So I got to experience a lot of his games and going up to visit and taking sabbaticals from work just so I can hang out with him. Because one thing about Reggie, he didn't believe in, okay, you can stay home and not work. He always, it's just where he came from. It's always like, I'm not going to be playing ball forever. So let's build this together. So I
Oh,
always worked, but I
oh,
would take sabbaticals. So after he asked me to be his girlfriend, we entered this relationship. His decision moving forward to say, God is calling me into a different direction. I'm going to give up football and I'm going to do something different. So in that transition, we got married and we were like, we have a purpose in life. What is it? I know it's not just to sit back. I know you didn't make this decision to just give up the NFL, one of the most glorified. Once you make it there, that's the 1% of the 1%, which is what we talk about a lot, for you to just say, okay, I'm done. But we started thinking about it. We started, meditating and trying to prayerfully figure out what was next for us. So the long decision was we want to go into youth ministries. We want to go into youth work. And it started in our church. We started working with kids in our church. And to be honest, it's a little difficult when you're working with other churches and things that have the whole say so, even though you're contributing to that program, it became a little complicated. And that's what we said, okay, we're going to do our own nonprofit. And we birthed Maranatha Youth Ministries at the time. And then it changed and morphed into Fit and Faithful Living, which is not a religious organization. We are believers. However, we wanted to connect through the whole mind, body, soul, and spirit of serving. First, it was adults, and then later came young people. Because adults
oh,
are really hard to change. They want to change. They say they want to change, but they don't really want to change. And
wow.
how that happened is Reggie developed high blood pressure. It's the DNA. Even though we were eating and living right, he developed these health conditions, and we were like, what's going on here? So he overcame a lot of those health challenges through diet. And yeah,
Choices. all along, I'm listening to all of these choices, the choices to remain friends, the choice to leave the NFL, which is huge when that's what you've done and that's what got your college paid for, it's paying the bills. Uh,
Absolutely.
so big choices, but the fact that you prayerfully considered together
Yes,
what's next, those are such huge examples of building a life together and building a life with purpose is what you were
absolutely.
doing. So
Absolutely.
yeah, just
Absolutely.
okay.
So
Well,
we made that decision. And once we decided, Sherri, we were like, wait a minute, the kids still helping adults is just, it's not working the way we thought it would work. So then we shifted our gears through an invitation to go to a Boys and Girls Club and share our healthy living message with the young people. Reggie, of course, was the main speaker. And one of the young people, one of the young students that belonged to the health club, she says, would y'all think about coming back and doing programming here with us? And we said, wow, okay. That's a great idea. Let's try it and see what happens. So making that decision to go to that Boys and Girls Club from the student, and she actually, we still keep in touch with her today. She's graduated, she's working, and she's going to come back actually next month and share with our students on her life and her asking, making a decision to ask and come and say, would you come? Because had she not asked, I don't know that we would have followed that directive or direction, I should say. So going into youth, health, wellness, the mental, we know the challenges children face today because we have two of our own. And we just became engrossed with trying to make children's lives better. And Reggie being able to share from his experiences about being in the league and how to persevere and how to challenge yourself and how to be motivated. All of that was going in the direction of young people. So shifting that gear, that small choice, which we still involve families. We haven't left it. Don't think we forgot about the families. It's just in different doses of what we work with our children and the youth in our program. So it's better actually because our kids get to start at an earlier phase in life of understanding how choices and the decisions they make impact their lives.
yes. Well, and I know when we were working away during COVID via
Oh,
Zoom, it never stopped us. And I remember as we talked a little briefly about earlier, we would have the Zoom classes for a yoga class offered to the students, but many times a grandparent would be there or a mom and no student. I mean, so you were still reaching families just in a
those were great
kind
days.
of
And
like
I was
reading it.
so thankful that you were able to pivot with us and say, okay, we're going to go online because COVID just killed most of the world and nobody knew what to do. It was the first time that ever happened. And you were such an angel for us, for the families, for the students, for the adults. They were always popping in. That was great. They would pop in while the kids are working out. The kids would ask their family members, would you come and join? Do you want to be with me? So thank you for bringing that up because
At
those were
least,
times
well,
we just
another human interaction with another human, even if it was on a screen, it was human interaction, which we were all so starved
absolutely.
for. Yeah. So you started this fabulous organization by choice, 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 not even ever intending for this to be an organization for students. And here you are. And now tell me how. Tell me what you are how you're trying to educate these students, what you're trying to help them learn, and what your long-term goal with that is.
Yes. So that's a loaded question because, first of all, we're trying to make our students understand the importance of using their voices, advocating for themselves, and being because they're not going to always have mom and dad. They're not going to have Mr. and Ms. Dupard. They're not going to always have them. So they need to be empowered to understand what that looks like. So I always shared my story with them being in the sixth grade of having to make a decision. And that decision from my mother, I come from a family that's a little different, but probably no different than the world. But my mom was originally married, and my father and her got a divorce. She remarried, and I was the only child from the first marriage. So the remaining three children were from the second marriage, my sisters and my brother. Well, my name is Fontenelle. Okay. Theirs was Duncan. And I don't know, my poor mother, maybe she just didn't know the order of how to send a child to school or if there were legitimate paperwork you had to complete. But she sent me to school in the 6th grade. And she said, well, today you're going to be Duncan. Your new name is going to be Duncan. You're no longer going to be a Fontenelle. And what is a 6th grader to do? Okay. So I went to school, and I'll never forget this teacher. Her name is Mrs. Carter. And she called the roll when we got to school, and she got to LaChanda Fontenelle. And when she said my name's Sherri, I was like, okay, well, she's not talking to me because my mom says my new name is Duncan. So my name is LaChanda Duncan. I sat there. She went through the whole roll, and you can laugh because it is pretty funny. She went through the whole roll calling, and she said she noticed I was the only one that didn't answer. She said, baby, what's your name? I said, LaChanda Duncan. And she goes, I have LaChanda Fontenelle here. Was your name ever LaChanda Fontenelle? And I said, yes, but before I could even get but out, this Carter goes, you see, children, this is why you need to go to school and get your education. This child doesn't even know her name.
Oh, oh my.
For days, actually, it was 24 hours because after that 24-hour period, the next day at school, I had enough of that. Okay. I was so embarrassed. I could have gone under the desk, and then the remainder of the day, the kids, you know how kids are. And I could not believe it. The whole thing I'm thinking in the back of my head is, why would my mom set me up for failure? Why would my mother tell me to go to school and tell her my name is this? Doesn't she know that there's got to be a process? Why? So there were so many questions, but that day in 6th grade, Sherri, is the day that I found my voice. That was the day because it broke the trust that I had with my mother. I almost couldn't believe anything she told me to do. So I fact-checked everything going forward. Enrolling in school and programs and after-school programs and summer camps. I did all of that. And I look at that example of what happened in my life, even though it was so traumatic to me. And the next day going to school, I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go. I was like, these kids are going to be teasing me again. And I went and I had enough. And I stood up and I said, okay, that's it. The next person that says something else to me about this name is going to get it. And we just going to start rolling in this grass. So come on. Who else got something to say?
You took care, but it gave you your voice in the 6th grade.
In the 6th grade.
And
6th grade.
Well,
So
and yeah, as you were talking about that, I'm thinking all those skills that you learned by taking care of your business from the time you were in the 6th grade are probably a lot of the reason you're where you are now. You continued to take care. You continued to make those choices to not let that happen again.
Not let it happen. By any means was I going to let anybody tell me anything, and I didn't fact check it.
Do you think that is a lot of your motivation behind why you do what you do for the kids?
I truly believe it is.
Yeah.
I truly, with all my gut, soul, mind, and body, believe that experience is what I want students to walk away from our program understanding, that you can have your voice. Not that you don't believe what your parents say.
Yes.
Because I truly don't believe that my mother fully understood. Bless her heart. I don't know why she wouldn't have known. But for whatever reason, it wasn't for me to go back and say, you did this. And that's what I also teach children. So parents don't always make the best decisions. Are we going to hold that over their heads for the rest of their lives? No. I need to forgive my mother because I would have been angry with her for the rest of my life.
Well, and maybe that could have been handled a little bit more kindly by the teacher also.
Yeah. Miss Carter, no. Miss Carter was bullying herself. Because she wanted you to learn. She wanted you to get this education. She wanted to prove to you why you needed it. But you're right. She could have handled that a little bit kinder.
But those things happen to all of us. They happen to every single one of us, and we can either stay stuck in that little that little rut that we all fall into and live in, or we can make a choice, a healthy choice, a healthy
Healthy
choice.
choice.
And
Healthy
that's the
choice.
point. The more of those, the more healthy choices you can have, then
That's
the
right.
the quality of our lives is really
Yeah.
more how our lives are intended to be lived. So yes, and look what it's done. Now you're helping all these children. So you educate these children. When I was working with you, it was a lot of you were educating them on nutrition,
Yes.
healthy
Healthy living.
physical body choices, moving your body. And
Right.
but you do more than that now. Is that still a
Oh,
part of what you
absolutely.
is that still a big part of what you do?
It's still a big part, but it morphed into other areas of life skills. Because what we noticed is that so many kids were surviving, but they weren't thriving. It was an
Mm,
everyday survival mode. And when you're in survival mode all the time, you're going to make a bad decision. You're going to make an
yeah.
unhealthy choice, whether that be in a relationship with another classmate. And these kids are really starting to date in school, right? Whether
Hmm.
it's going and trusting someone that they shouldn't, checking people out before they trust them so much, and not sharing all of your business with your classmate or peers, and knowing what to share, basically making those decisions on what to share. So it goes, life skills is the primary
Okay.
leadership program that we have, but it also encompasses the healthy decisions to eat, proper exercise, nutrition. So within our program, every student has to qualify for our end of year trips that we take, which are vision tours that we have an angel donor and several donors that truly contribute to the organization and what we do. And they have an opportunity to earn a $3,500 scholarship to go on a leadership tour with us to a
And
different city. And this
and
year,
tell us. Yeah, but you've been to San Francisco, New York City, Chicago, Washington,
Chicago,
D.C. I mean,
Orlando, New York,
big life-changing
Atlanta,
trips.
life changing. And these are students, some of them have never been on a plane before. Some of them just don't know how to travel and have never seen any of these major cities. So when we take them on these tours, and let me say to you, we stay in some of the best affordable hotels possible, because we don't want our students to feel like they have to be in a lower end hotel just to do these things. We want them to have the full leadership. It's a business trip, right? We're meeting, we're talking about decisions. We have to keep up. And when we're in busy cities, we're taking local transportation. We have, and the anxiety that we've had to deal with our young people, not even knowing. We're thinking, oh, this is exciting. As adults, we're going on a trip and our chaperones are excited. But when some of them get to the airport, Cherry, some of them are hyperventilating. We have to
Mhm.
calm them down. They've never had a ticket. They don't know which line to get in. And, those are the life skills that we had to also take a step back and go, well, they don't even know the A, B, and C of travel. So we had to morph again into, when you get your ticket, we're going to walk with you to the counter. You're going to talk to the ticket agent. You're going to feel comfortable with this. And those things change a child's life like you would not believe, to the point that one of our young people who graduated out of our program, she got a job with Amazon. And she said her first trip that she had to travel with Amazon was on an airplane to Chicago. And she called us to let us know, had it not been for her experiences in traveling with us, it would have messed her up to the point where she would have been afraid to go or would have not taken that job opportunity. So, it's changing lives, but it's also empowering young people. You can do this. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Well,
Small steps.
I mean, empowering her to make the choice, to have the skills to choose to take that job rather
Yeah.
than not take that job, that is an enormous gift just by,
Multitudes.
yeah, yeah,
Gratitude. Just so grateful. And
yeah.
there's so many other stories that come along. We don't even have time to talk about that. We
Well,
probably need a good hour.
we
Make me
could
sleep so
talk
good at night.
on and on.
Yeah.
I do want to go with. I want you to tell us a little bit about the event on May 17th, which is
Oh,
a fabulous, fun, food, beautiful. And the most amazing piece of this gala is it's called the Tux and Chucks Gala on May 17th in Dallas. And if you're interested, I'm going to let you give the information. But I think what was the most remarkable thing about being a part of this last year, the stories for these students to come back that are in amazing professional positions, changing the world,
Yes.
not just one or two, but you have decades of students now, kids
Yes,
that
we
have been
do.
involved in this program, graduated out of the program, and gone on to have beautiful families, and then
Yes.
to share when something has been given to you this beautiful, then you pass it on in a number of ways. So to share a
Absolutely.
little bit about the event and
Yeah.
what you what you hope the event to be and how somebody can be a part if they want, or if they would like to be. You work with volunteers, so if somebody's interested in
Absolutely.
volunteering or making a donation to this amazing cause, then a little info here.
Yes. So our gala, we're 13 years old today. In November, we will be 14 years old. So we're celebrating pretty much 14, 13 plus years of services under the realm of FFL. And our alumni students were under our old realm, but we invite them back. They're still considered part of our organization and family. The name does not make them any different. So the gala we will celebrate on May 17th in Dallas at the Highland Hotel. And it's going to be fun. It's a tux and chucks. You wear your beautiful gown or tuxedo and you put on your comfortable gym shoes, whatever it is. Chucks is just the theme of it, but we want people to come, be comfortable, have opportunities to hear more about what we do, spread awareness, honor the people who have been along with us and believing in our vision and impactful for helping us create our programs that we have been able to create for the last 8 years of summer. Summer has been 8 years, summer camps. So we want to show the world what we're doing. In the meantime, raise money, of course, because our year-round after-school and summer camps is what we raise money for. We don't have a brick and mortar. We partner with schools. We partner with Boys and Girls Clubs and other places where there are children who need partners like us to come in and give services, teach life skills, and help them to earn an opportunity to travel as well. So we're looking forward to a great time. Sherri, you were at our last one. We have fun. It's not one that you go sit to and just you're bored. And listen, Mr. Dupard and I have so much to celebrate this year. He's coming out of another challenge with cancer, and this is the second time coming out of prostate cancer. We all know those times were difficult. But guess what? We continued to move. He continued to persevere, even through his treatments. So seeing my husband in the eyes of this warrior man who just did not give up. And of course, we did it together through prayer. But it is such an amazing overcoming testimony of how if you persevere, you can still move and shake in the right direction, changing lives. So we sleep good at night, Sherri.
I know you do. I have no doubt. The energy, the love that you guys pour into the world is, if you could just go to this event one time, it would be worth your time. One time just to experience LaChanda and Reggie Dupard. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Um,
Thank you so much, Sherri. This is
and
great.
I would really love to close. I like to ask each person that I chat with, if there's one choice that you could make or you could encourage our listeners to make that would really impact their lives as an individual, maybe something that has really a choice that impacts you regularly, but that also would affect the people around us, because in talking with people, one thing I have discovered, it's not, these choices don't just impact me,
right.
and the choices of the people around me are constantly, we are in a dance here. So
Yes, we are.
so what do you think that would be, LaChanda? A really positive choice that you maybe make on a regular basis that keeps you living the life you think you were designed to live, and it
Right.
also impacts the lives around you.
I like that question. And the whole time you were asking, I'm sitting here trying to process. I believe that one thing is, you're gonna love this one, is to sit in a quiet space and
Mm.
just listen, sound out that noise that's always in our brain. I have about 20 people in my head every day just talking to me, do
Yeah.
this, do this, and it's all over. If you don't stop that carousel, it'll go on and on and on. So sitting quiet, I think, is where I get my best vision, ideas. People come to mind that I need to call, and I'll stop, I'll write it down. So sitting and being quiet and just listening to those small moments of understanding the direction you need to go. Like you say, we're in the hustle and bustle. Everybody want to get out of bed, jump, go work out, do your thing, and then you're off to the day. But we haven't had enough time to center ourselves and to
Yes.
just listen to what the heart is saying to us.
Be
I would
still.
admonish
Yeah.
everyone to do that.
Oh, I love that. You know, I love that. Yes.
You
So,
are one that actually taught me that too.
oh, well, I can't thank you enough for joining me on this new endeavor and just
Yeah.
for being my friend and for the love and the joy that you and Reggie, you just continually give to the world. So I look forward to our paths crossing again soon.
Oh, I know they
May
will.
see you
And
at
thank
Tucks
you.
and Chucks.
Blessings to you, Sherri. You enjoy and
Thank
have a
you.
great rest
Thank
of
you.
your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you, LaChanda.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Next time on Even Just a Little, an art show like this is not an easy thing to put together. You put up a tent, you set up a business basically. Not an easy feat. And it had rained in Leanna's tent, and she's a watercolor artist, so that's not a good thing to happen. But it did slow her down a bit. She just picked back up. We got those paintings hung, and she continued to encourage the rest of us during that art show. And that's the piece I think that sets her apart. The kindness in her creativity. And I want to really dive into that today because I think it shows in your art. Thanks so much for joining us on Even Just a Little.